Hi there, I'm Zach. I'll stand in front of it.
And I'm Jason.
Yeah. And this is my brother. He's a little bit older than me, not as good as looking, and
Stronger, definitely stronger.
Debatable. And we also have our brother-in-law who started the company with us. He wasn't able to make it today because our sister is just about to have her baby any day now, so it was kind of a far travel to be on call. So.
Yeah, so we build tiny homes. Not sure if all of you guys know what tiny homes are, but they look a lot like this. So it's basically small homes on wheels, and they're very mobile. They can go wherever you want them to go, and your home is right there with you.
Yeah, we've kind of really taken the tiny home to the extreme with innovation and automation and the different architecture that we've done throughout them. And we've really, I guess, pushed the limits on what you can do in such a small space and something that has to be mobile and has to be ready to move at any moment. So we have always are having to do built-in furniture, and with such a small space, you have to utilize the multifunctional storage and all that sort of stuff. So.
We like to focus on green living as well, so you'll see us put a lot of different solar panels and different high-tech things on our tiny homes, but basically getting to this point was quite an adventure for us personally, and just basically took a whole lifetime to get here. So we thought we'd kind of start into that and really kind of dig into what brought us to the edge, per se, and what got us to where we are building tiny homes in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, it didn't really just happen overnight. It was kind of a lifelong experience, definitely.
So we started building homes as early, I think there's even an earlier photo here on the left, you can see us there. But basically ever since we were boys, we would get out on the job site with our dad. He was a general contractor. And so we kind of just started learning how to build before we even knew how to read, I think. So it was kind of one of those things we just grew up doing, and as we went along, we really just applied ourselves. Our dad was a master of his craft, and he taught us how to do that side of things. So just build efficiently, productivity, and really the essence of hard work, just getting out there and putting in a good day's work, and seeing the value, and seeing, like these pictures here, getting at the end of the day and seeing what you built is an incredible feeling. So.
Another big part that played factor into getting us to where we are today is we actually took a sailing trip when we were in high school. We were taking community college classes on the side to be able to graduate early, and we were able to take like a 10-month sailing trip from San Diego clear over to Australia and hit all the islands throughout on the passage. And there's one stretch that was 21 days that we didn't see land, and there's 6 of us on the boat. It was me, Jason, our dad, and then 3 of our friends that were able to go. And it was really a life-changing experience, and helped us to think outside of the box and really, realize that we weren't just confined to, our city and our standard way of living and just inside of a home that's in a subdivision or whatever, but you can have, a traveling experience, and you can live with such a small space, and you really have to maximize every square inch when you're inside of a boat, because, when you can't just go to the grocery store every single day, so you have to, store as much food as you can. And when you're in these other countries, they don't really have the conveniences of a Costco or Sam's Club and all that down the street. So you have to kind of plan ahead and really make sure that every square inch of the boat is filled and used, which helped us, think outside of the box.
So yeah, with six guys in a small boat, about 100 square feet, it was, like Zach said, it really forced us to find use for every square inch of the boat, and really, take all the necessities we needed and be able to put them in a spot and figure out how to get through 10 months of, in this boat.
And we also learned the art of, making sure that everything that you have is able to be, mobile ready. So you can see the bungee cords holding all the books in. You can see some of these hammocks right here, ready to store your items in there so they don't just all go flying off the shelves and whatnot. You also can see how if you aren't organized, if you don't have a spot for everything, it can quickly get out of hand. And so we were able to really take all of this knowledge and the experience that we learned, that each item that you have has to have a home, has to have multi-purpose, and if you don't use it, you don't need it in your home. So.
And on that trip, we hit a couple storms. One in particular that was quite fierce, but this was a stage in life that it really taught us how to weather any storm that hits. And as when we got back, we started our business. There were just so many parallels from this trip that now we can look back and see like this drove us through this challenge or this this storm in a business sense. And so that trip was a huge factor in starting Tiny Heirloom. And that leads to buying a trailer and putting it in our garage and starting to build a couple of years after. So we basically got to work, just started building on a tiny house trailer, and like many good businesses, starting in the garage there. Oh, that's our brother-in-law Tyson. He's gonna watch the recording, so we had to put that in there for him. This is our first facility where we started everything right there by the propane tank, and started building our first tiny home. Wasn't much, but about halfway through, we decided to put a luxury spin on the tiny home, which in that time there was the tiny home market was very much rustic, very kind of simplistic. It was all about how little you can do with how small of a space, and we thought, let's do something a little different. So we took that idea and we decided to try to create a space where you can downsize but not have to downgrade. And at that point, we decided to even take it one step further. So why couldn't we downsize but actually upgrade? And that's kind of what drove us to start creating better tiny homes.
And we really started this first one kind of as a side project. We were in between building like construction projects, and so we started this first one, and it wasn't a business right off the bat, but once we completed it, we posted some pictures online, and then next thing we knew, there's a lot of magazine companies and different articles online and whatnot that wanted to post pictures, and so it basically just kind of took off like wildfire, because nobody had ever seen a tiny home that was actually had a luxury spin on it, and so there actually were quite a few people in the tiny home industry that were haters on it at first, because they didn't like it. They thought that it was just supposed to be simplistic and take it out in the cabin or out in the woods and just kind of live your own life out there. But we didn't think that was necessarily the case, and we knew that there's a lot of people who wanted to live smaller, just in a luxury feel.
So this first one took us about 6 months as a side project. Now we're building them out about 4 weeks. Yeah, like Zach was saying, when we first started this and got these photos out, it got a lot of attention, a lot of traction, but we faced a lot of opposition with the market in general, and that was a time when we hadn't started a business, we'd just done this tiny home. But we faced this opposition, so we basically had to make a decision, like, do we listen to everyone and whatever they're saying, like, this is a bad idea, you guys are ruining the tiny home industry, or do we see something better here that's actually kind of further past what a lot of these other people are even seeing, and seeing a need, I guess, that's not even there yet. So we decided to give it a shot, and we created Tiny Heirloom.
And shortly after, some of the magazines picked up these photos. We actually had multiple production companies calling us. I think it ended up being about 12 production companies wanting to do a TV show on our tiny home company. It's just our family. And we told them no multiple times, and they were pretty persistent. And after a month or two of them basically begging us to do it every single day, they told us that it was a 1 in a million chance that it would actually go somewhere. So we decided to bet against the odds, and it actually ended up happening. So we were filming within about 4 months after they had contacted us, and the show actually aired about 8 or 9 months after they first contacted us, which is pretty much unheard of. It normally takes about 1.5 years until you actually start filming, and so it all just went so quick, and there's so much happening within this first year or two. yeah, it was really kind of the explosion of the company. We basically started building our first couple of tiny homes as a company with the production company involved, and so there's so much going on, and it was a whole new world because we'd never done filming before, and yeah, it was a very unique time in life, definitely. And we were working long hours in order to hit their deadlines because they have such crunch deadlines, and so yeah, it was very taxing on our bodies, and without some of the past life experience, we probably wouldn't have made it through. So definitely.
Yeah, so like Zach was saying, once we signed up on the TV show, we basically had to find a cool spot to film and build tiny homes, and we found this beautiful spot out in Milano, Oregon, just outside of Portland, and basically started filming right away. So it was kind of a big chaos at first. Basically, there was 3 guys, had never run a business really before, had never had any employees, and we had to instantly get about 15 people on staff. Had about 20 different production crew, cameramen, lighting, audio, just running around, telling us what to do, telling us what not to do. There's this big conflict of we all are trying to make a tiny home, but theirs is for a completely different purpose than ours. Ours was to build it for our client, and theirs was to create the show. So there was this kind of battle between these 2 companies with a common goal, but different reasons why we're going there.
Yeah, really throughout all this, it helped us kind of push the limits of what we could actually do, because not only was the production company always encouraging, the crazy idea and whatnot, but we built every single one of our tiny homes as a custom tiny home, and so the client has a lot of, will bring us whatever the must-haves are and what they really are going to use the home for, and so we really catered the exact space for the client, because each client has such unique needs and such unique what they're going to use the tiny home for, and so really utilizing every square inch and makes the most of the tiny home.
So after about a 1.5 years of filming, we needed to upsize a little bit, so we got into a more commercial space just outside of Portland, and that's where we are today, kind of building our tiny homes. And yeah, like Zach was saying, one other thing I guess that sets us apart is, and what helped us get started was really having a pure 100% custom process. So there was a lot of tiny home builders out there that were doing, I guess, model homes, and but from the experiences we've had, and we realized that in a small space, like we're saying, you really got to have it customized to your needs. I mean, every person in here has a different, they have different habits, different, needs and wants and things that you guys enjoy. And so having just a small space that is kind of, I guess, just a cookie cutter, one size fits all doesn't really work that well. So being able to completely customize your build, every single tiny home starts with a blank page. That is what really drew a lot of people to us, and kind of got us off the ground there.
Yeah. Another part that really sparks creativity is between the 3 of us guys and our wives. There's such diverse thoughts of exactly how it should happen, and so when one of us would generally take a client and a tiny home project, and then we would design it how we think would be best or whatnot, and then our brothers or wives would say, like, no, that's not quite right, let's tweak that, or let's change this over here, or let's move this around or whatnot. And really, I guess the power of multiple minds, just crafting each tiny home and thinking through every single step of the way, like what they're actually going to be using it for, and kind of really envisioning yourself living in it as if you were the client and how we could maximize it. So
this was one in particular that we kind of wanted to show you guys, that we felt like kind of pushed us and the tiny home movement to the edge. So we basically had a client that came to us, and they wanted to have a tiny home that they could take around and have adventure wherever they go. They both love to rock climb, had some interesting styles, but like Zach was saying, we all sat in a room, we just started thinking, like, what can we do on this tiny home that would blow these clients away and hit exactly on the head of what exactly they want. I can't remember who exactly it was, but one of us basically decided to do a rock wall tiny house with the whole thing being one giant rock climbing wall. We slowly scaled that down to be just this side here, but this was one that took a lot of creativity and things that, like we were talking about before, that just kind of we drew from the past and really kind of, I guess, push ourselves beyond what we thought was even possible, and decided to not be boxed in by just the standard siding or the traditional materials that you can use, and kind of push the limits there.
This one has a really unique kind of layout, has a drop-down loft up there, so you can work up inside that upper area, and also the kitchen table will drop. It's on a caster, it's not on linear actuators, and so if you push a button, the table will lower down and be the same height as the benches there, so you can use it as a bed as well. There's our beautiful wives right there. They're in the house tonight. We'd make them stand up, but they'd be a little embarrassed. And this, so yeah, you can see on the left there, we didn't know about on running at that time, but yeah, we get a free pass. Yeah. So in the light fixture in the center is a custom-made light fixture.
But as you can see, yeah, it's just really about making each space extremely usable, trying to maximize every square inch, every square foot of the house, and having multi-purpose is really what it's all about there. So here's just a couple other examples of just some of the work we've done and some of the creativity that kind of, I guess, pushes past beyond the normal tiny house.
There's automation all through here. That pop-out area right there. There's a TV that you push a button and it raises up, or the cabinets are, you push them in and they automatically open, and you push a button and they close. And there's a custom little dog kennel right down there. And these clients in particular, yeah, they love their dogs, so we put a little custom dog kennel. They got a wet bar on the right side there, built-in Bose speakers throughout the house. You know, it's really big to just bring the aesthetic design of each client into each house, so you'll see just so many different styles even within a small space. Yeah, so I think, you know, all the experiences we had growing up when we were a kid, just working on construction sites, to living in a boat with 600 people, traveling across the country, and just really getting first-hand experience on what a small space feels like and to live in it, really kind of propelled us to just be able to push past some of the boundaries that were already established in the tiny home movement. And we got some opposition at first, but we kind of pushed back past that, saw a vision of where we wanted to go and what could be done with a small space, and that's kind of what's gotten us here today. Yeah, and we're really excited for kind of where you can take all this with the different architecture, design, and everything. We can, you know, apply it to whether it's houses on foundations or little communities of tiny homes. We're really excited about creating a place where a lot of like-minded people can come and live, or else, you know, nightly rentals where you can park them in a, you know, out in the woods or anything like that, and somebody can go stay there if they just want to get out of the city. You can go rent it, and those are kind of the different ideas and whatnot that we're kind of pushing forward, and how we can take this really to the next level. And we know that it's not for everybody to be able to live in a tiny home, just because there's you know, some people like more space or whatnot, but we really think that it's kind of the philosophy of how less is more, and how you don't have to clutter your life with just so much stuff that can be overwhelming, and it can take more of your time and whatnot, but you can really, I guess, simplify and live a better life, a life that's more filled with what you actually want to do. So, yeah, we're open to any questions.
So I know your story pretty well, but what I find fascinating is how you are kind of adapting with new asks, new changes. I know originally you had a few requests, and you were, I don't know how many you're producing a month. How many tiny houses are you producing a month now? Or like you said, 4 to 6 weeks. How many are you pumping out?
It's typically 4 to 6 a month as well.
Yeah. So what I think is fascinating is how, even though you started very custom, truly custom, you're now, in order to accommodate the demand, so supply and demand, you're now coming up with standardization options in your tiny homes, which make it more, ascertainable to people. Your custom lines are like $100 grand or whatever, but now you have a new line that's more mid-range, which is great, but there's still customization options. And kind of, I would love to hear how, coming from such a focus of customization, how you gravitated to accommodating this new demand that truly there's no way you could ever build that many, unless you're Superman, that many custom houses, how you decided to have this strategy of customization with standardization, or however you want to call it, and you've been able to accommodate the demand, I think, pretty well. If you want to mention kind of your business savvy that you had to learn on the fly.
She was asking basically why we, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but why we decided to go from fully custom builds to down to more customizable tiny homes, and what was the thought process behind that? Is that more or less?
Well, kind of this edge thing, you didn't have really business background, but you knew in order to accommodate the demand, you had to kind of shift gears a little bit or add this extra element.
Sure.
I just like to, someone who's interested in perhaps starting their own company or and doesn't have a business background, how did you learn that? How did you go with the punches to create this strategy and a solution that I think is working very well?
I see, yeah. So with the demand of all the tiny homes, we decided to move down to, or not move down to, but basically create a new series, which is a customizable series, and you're asking why we did that and how we I guess came to that conclusion, that decision.
I know why, but how did you come up with that?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I did a bad job.
No.
But yeah, no, it's exactly right. We felt the demand, we saw the demand, and there was a lot of people that basically couldn't afford the completely custom tiny home, or didn't want to pay that much, or it just didn't fit in their budget. So what we decided to do was create a tiny home that had all the best parts of what we're known for, which is high quality, great design, and great layouts, and take the very, key features of each house and make those able to be personalized or customized. And this, we've been in business for about 4 years now, and it's something we probably should have done a lot earlier, but we were just so focused on the full custom builds, and we didn't want to get away from our niche. I think, like you said, it's something that we've seen a lot of interest in, and we just put it out this year, and it's gaining a lot of traction, and we see that a lot of people are very interested in this movement, in this tiny home that's high quality, very custom made, but that didn't have the resources or the time or whatever it was to create a fully custom home.
Yeah, really another kind of part that led us that way is getting a loan on a tiny home. It's not just like a conventional home loan, so they're actually a bit harder to get, even though it's a cheaper purchase compared to a house per se. But we knew that people could get financed for, the 60 to 80 mark is really a lot easier to get a loan for that amount, and it's a smaller down payment and all of that. So we knew that we needed to have a product that we could release at that and sell to our clients at that price point. But we knew we couldn't do full custom at that price just because obviously there's so much that goes into it. So we kind of have been wanting to do it for a number of years, but we finally just kind of bit the bullet and put our design staff and team and us on really, creating the ultimate, standardized tiny home that you could do, and really maximize every square inch and make it look really good as well. And so that's partly what led us that way, and we just knew that we could reach a broader audience, and it is a niche. It's already a niche market, but it's a niche within a niche, the custom tiny home. So we knew that it was in due time that we were gonna, end up going that way. But yeah, it's another point of why we went that way.
Yeah, it was a tough decision to make in one sense, but also, like you're saying, the demand was there. So it was really hey, we see this right in front of us. If we put the right spin on it and had the right mindset behind it, we think they could do really well. So I think it was just about seeing what the market is needing and what the market is wanting, and making a product for that. Oh, I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
First of all, I think the idea of doing the getaway rental is a really good idea, because it's hard to find homes in Airbnb, and there's one companies that
The question was, because of the elements in Oregon, is there certain materials that we use? There are some. There's a lot of weatherproofing basically that goes beyond kind of on the back side of all the materials that you see front facing. So making sure everything is very watertight, airtight, and thermal ready basically is the main thing there.
What percentage of your clients use this as their primary residence as compared to like luxury options for vacations?
So I'd say it's probably over half, probably like 60 to 70% use it as their primary residence, and the others use it as a vacation home, or they plan to travel with it or whatnot. So.
What's the smallest house you built?
Smallest I think is about 120 square feet.
Yeah.
What were the challenges?
The challenges were basically just fitting everything in that you absolutely need. It was definitely a challenge, but I actually didn't put any in here. But interesting enough, when someone walks in that house, one of the biggest things that they always say is, "I can't believe this is this small." I mean, when you typically think about 120 square feet, it's the size of a small bedroom, and you think to fit a bathroom, a kitchen, a living space, a bedroom as well, and storage for everything you need, all the systems, utilities. It seems like how in the world are you going to be able to do anything in here? But if you really kind of get the multi-purpose of every single space in there, and you design it efficiently, it actually works very well. So,
yeah, and we kind of end up using the boundaries that we have, whether it's the size or the regulations or whatnot, as different things that we can bounce our ideas off of, and we can really help it, push forward on different, ways that we can, be more inventive or whatever it takes to make it happen in that space. And so, whether it requires this piece of furniture to do like 4 or 5 different things, and that's what it takes. So we'll go back there just because you guys.
Just a quick question. What is the geographic range from your factory that you could deliver to that makes like economic sense? And how transportable are these, especially the bigger ones?
Yeah, so for our fully custom lines, we actually include free delivery of all the 48 states that are connected. But we've sent, tiny homes clear to Florida, we've sent them to Hawaii, so we actually partnered with a really big one over there. So we kind of go all over. We're working with a couple of people, maybe in London that will do something, or New Zealand. So the smaller ones kind of fit in the same, shipping container space size. So they're relatively convenient to ship. So.
It's really great. As a buyer, do I need to have like legal right to property to put it on, or can I just put it next to the lake? Like, do I need to own a piece of land to put it on, or can I just?
Yeah, he asked if you have to own the land to put it on, and you don't have to own the land, but you would want to have some sort of rights, whether it's from the person who owns the land and you're renting it from them, or something like that. You would want to just trespass with it, but you don't have to own the land to put it there. We certify all of ours as RVs, and so anywhere you can put an RV, you can go on these.
What kind of security do you have just in case?
Yeah.
Surveillance cameras and all systems.
Yes, what kind of security we have, and it really depends on the client's needs and wants. Whether some clients are really worried about them being stolen or different things like that, but you can put like GPS trackers inside of them, and insurance will actually insure your house from being stolen if you have a GPS tracker in it. As far as it getting broken into, you can put any of the standard security measures that you put in a regular home. It just really depends on what the client wants. So, question?
Yeah, I was just going back to the smallest model we made. I was wondering if that was supposed to be a custom order or something on the size of
She asked if the smallest model was a custom, and it was a custom order.
Yeah, that one was a full custom, and one of our models actually now is right around that, just a little bit bigger. And it is a little more simplistic compared to that custom one we have built at that size. But that one is more for just traveling, but that one was going to be a permanent residence, and yeah, it was 100% custom.
Yes.
Certain design trends that people have interested, and they see people on using it,
design trends. Oh man, there's obviously, whether it's like the farmhouse sink and that sort of stuff, there's a lot of different aspects like that, but as far as an exact aesthetic or whatnot, some clients come to us just asking for a specific house that we've already done and to rebuild that one or whatnot, but
I think in general, probably what we've seen most is kind of like a craftsman, aesthetic. But in general, it's pretty widespread, and that's been, very interesting and fun as well. So,
in terms of the production process, from like ideation to design to prototyping to the finished product, how involved are you? And part of that is, do you like outsource it to an interior designer to help you, or like people who know more about certain custom items?
yeah, so he was asking how involved are we, and if we outsource or if we kind of do it all in-house. We've been doing it all in-house, so we basically have a pretty big team that it actually started out as just us and our wives. Basically, we took a build and we take it from blank page and take the client's needs and want to start scratching it on paper and put it into a AutoCAD type of system. And we've slowly been adding to the team and having some people with specific skills being able to help us in those areas. And we are looking into as well outsourcing some of these projects to whether it's firms that are specific in one profession, but we'd like to try to keep it all in-house as much as possible.
Yeah, it really helps being able to scale quickly and like scale as the market demands if you are outsourcing, so there's some of that in there.
To what degree did you have to get like really creative in coming up with some of these details? Because you said that your custom builds are coming in around $100,000, and like looking at some of your details, it's almost amazing to me that you could even achieve what you're achieving at that price point. Like looking at the TVs on actuators and the tables on actuators, are you using like standard hardware for that, or are you kind of like making your own, or using off-label solutions? How are you able to kind of think through this design problem?
Oh yeah, she was asking to what degree do we have to really thoroughly, plan out the tiny homes and whatnot, and if we use, parts that we kind of put together, or if we use, whether it's an actuator that we purchase and can do the whole system or whatnot. It's a little bit of a mixture. Some of it we try to actually create our own, and whether it's like a Murphy bed system that's a bunk bed and we have to build it out of metal and steel ourselves, or if there's just a standard Murphy bed, then we can purchase that and just put it inside of a tiny home. So it's kind of a combo, but
yeah, I think it was a big part of it was having an in-house team that, whether it's a team of very high-end carpenters and welders and things like that, that basically anything that we could come up with, we were able to build in-house rather than having to order it or be confined to what's on the market. And that did give us the ability to, just think creatively without any boundaries, and anything that we thought of, we could, put on paper and then see it brought to life.
Do you have an in-house engineer too, what is your background? I know you said you went to high school and did some community college stuff, but I know you have your brother-in-law. What are your backgrounds to get to this point? I know you have the trade of carpentry, but some of these solutions are quite creative and like engineering specialties. So how did you just wing it and success, or like kind of trial and error? I'd be really fascinated to hear how you got there. And then part two is, when are you going to do a house cook?
Good question.
Yeah, so our background, like you said, was in construction. We didn't have much background actually besides that, and a lot of it was just applying ourselves and then thinking creativity. I can't even say that word. Creativity. Thank you. But yeah, just being able to, like we were saying, these different experiences we had just, open up our minds to the things that are possible. One of our favorite, kind of mottos for the company is, think nothing as impossible until proven otherwise, and that's kind of how we operated. And even though we didn't have some of these experience in whether it's specifically engineering or design, Our wives did an amazing job of just kind of applying themselves and trial and error, like, hey, what does this look good here? Does it look good there? Really just, trial and error. And, we've had a lot of, punches in the gut and then getting back up and saying, that didn't work, let's do it again. We can try it this way, we can do it this way. What are the other ways we can achieve what we're trying to achieve?
Yeah, really, I guess, being able to take risks and the willingness to take risks. And I guess between the three of us, our brother-in-law would always come up with the crazy ideas, and we would kind of either say yes or no, we're going to either do that or not. And some of the times we said we're not going to do that, and we ended up doing it, and it turned out amazing. And some of the times we tried, and it kind of crash and burn or whatnot, but yeah.
And then houseboat.
Just because with your background with sailing and tiny, that was the first thing that I loved about tiny houses is being in a small space like a ship. And I'm interested in building my own, but like the lateral, I'm worried about racking and all this stuff. And like, I know you can YouTube it now, but I was just wondering, when you started 4 years ago, it was less common to do that. Did you just, it's not the same construction. It's like, I know I built a real like habitat house. It's not the same as this. You have to do special supports for wind load and all that stuff. So.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, as far as the houseboat goes, that's something we're actually looking into right now with a couple different clients, whether it's kind of remodeling one or building one from, I guess, not the ground up, the water up, but so it is something we're looking into, and the engineering behind it is actually very similar to a regular house, just being able to have that sheer value of structural strength, on a lateral sense, and I think it's actually probably less so on the houseboat side of it than as, for a tiny house on the trailer. I can't remember the exact stat, but it's something like a 7-point earthquake going down the road as far as like what the effect is on a house when it's going down the highway. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and thanks to all of you.